Now let's look at the questions, okay? So the first one, what is a lecture mainly about? Usually in TOEFL listening, the lecture part, the first question is about the main content. Okay, there are several situations. First one is at the beginning of the lecture, the professor tells the class the main topic, the main discuss of the class. Okay, they will give you a clear focus, so we can get the answer from the very beginning. And most of the time, there is a second condition. The professor just at the beginning talks about some unrelated things or just details of the topic. So you need to, it's like a puzzle. You need to finish all the pieces. Like when you finish the listening, you have to fill the puzzle by yourself. You have to summarize the main content by yourself and to check which option is the correct one. We cannot get the direct answer from the beginning. Okay, so pay attention to the beginning and also the main content. So let's look at the question. In this lecture, let's see, I made a note here. From the note, I found out that it is a parallel structure. You see, I listed 4 points. So the first one is about the evidence of time period. And the second is about the evidence of distribution of the pottery. The third one is function. The last one is form. So the 4 paralleled points shows us it talks about archaeological evidence that pottery provides. Okay. Although at first I remember I hear the professor say pottery provides more than just time period, not just sequence. But in order to be more accurate, we can check the notes and summarize by ourselves. Okay. So this is question 1. From this question, I want to stress that when you listen to the material, you need to pay attention to the outline of the talking, okay? Like how the professor presents the ideas and how many points does the professor make. And also trace the all throughs the outline of the material so that you can have a clear catch of the big picture. So that's all for question 1. Now let's move to question 2.
Why does the professor list several reasons that pots were traded?
Question 2 is about the reason that pots were traded. We also need to be conscious when the lecture, the listening materials talks about the reasons, especially when students ask or the professor asks the class. You need to be careful. You need to be alert because it's likely that there will be a question related to the reasons. Okay. And here, it talks about the pots were traded. Let's check. So when I listened to the lecture, I paid attention to the facts or examples. It's not about the theory. It's just example, like the traded purpose for gifts or exchange wine or food. So here it is in the second point. And the details here, the examples are to prove the evidence of distribution. So we can get the distribution evidence through the trade and the materials or the gifts that they trade with each other. So back to the question, it is option 1, to support her claim that pottery provides evidence of distribution. Okay, and now for the second question, I want to remind you guys, we need to pay attention to the reasons, explanations, and results. And also another thing, we need to be alert on those examples or facts they talk about, because usually the examples or the facts are to prove their opinions or the the assumption or hypothesis. Okay, like in other parts of the lecture, the professor also talks about examples here and in the form part, right? We need to write it down. Like we can use simplified words, letters, or symbols, but you need to locate it very well, like what the example is and what point does the example to prove. Okay, that's all for question 2. Now let's move to question 3.
According to the professor, what is one reason it is important to study the material from which pottery was made?
And question 4.
According to the professor, why is it difficult to gain information on the function of a pot?
So question 3 and 4 are the same of question 2. The question asks about reasons and explanations, right? So when you write the notes, be careful about it and write down the examples or the reasons